Welcome to Giants Nation. I'm your host, Bobby Skinner, here with my co-host, the Football Grump, and we've got ourselves a Giants-Eagles preview, Week 8. Feels like we were just saying that 2 weeks ago because we were. The Giants beat the Eagles 2 weeks ago, but they have not won in Philadelphia since 2013. They haven't swept the Eagles since 2007. The Giants are 2-5 this season, 2-2 under Jackson Dart. The Giants are more banged up than they were 2 weeks ago. The Eagles are healthier. It's not a short week and only one game in between the matchup, but it is different. Grump, how we doing? How we feeling? Not, hey, and let me cut you off. Not the first time not going to be the first time we beat the Eagles coming off of a bad loss.
No, I don't think it will be, and I was just gonna say, like, I'm feeling a little bit better since Sunday, um, feeling even better since the mailbag, which, I had felt better then, but, just another week where we scored 30 points. It's been a while since we've scored so many points in a row. It's really promising, and it, like, even after a loss like that, we're gonna get into the whole breakdown on who's hurt, who's not, and how that affects this outcome or whatever, but even after coming out of a loss like that, still feels like we have more than a legitimate shot to win this game. 2 games against the Eagles, sweeping them. I mean, how could I not feel a little bit good about that? So, it's nice to feel exciting again. It's nice to feel like every week there's a shot, and there's definitely a shot this
Oh,
week. So, I feel
abs
good.
absolutely. Like, it is it's a much different vibe than, like, they beat the Chargers, that was fun. Then they lose to the Saints, and you're just like, "Oh gosh, this may be same old team," and they're certainly not good, and I don't believe in moral victories or anything, but the reality is that this team is better than times where we're, at week 8 and being like, "This is a disaster," like, last year, for example. Even though those teams showed some fight up until that Panthers game and then the benching of Daniel Jones. So I guess, there's a
Yeah,
little bit of
Malik
everything.
Neighbors too. I mean, like, the important thing to remember is that they are sustaining points per game without Malik Neighbors is, like, a really huge positive boost. So, like you said, no moral victories, whatever, but, like,
And a rookie QB puts up 30 points back-to-back games. Pretty damn happy with that, and without Malik Neighbors. Even if they had Malik Neighbors and T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, I think I'd be pretty pleased with that,
yeah.
offensively. So let's get into this preview. First, this episode was brought to you by us couple special people. We got Daniel Stokes. He puts a stick in the Stokes of the bike. That's the spokes, not the Stokes. And then this name, what in the world is this? PCI Fiuni 286. This is not a real name. It's not a real name. Grump, who are these special people?
That person and that computer part went to patreon.com/Giants Nation, where they signed up for one of 2 tiers, and they got things like stickers in the mail from you, Bobby Skinner. They also get entered into a monthly free t-shirt raffle where they can get t-shirts from the Giants Nation store. And they most importantly get access to watch these recordings live as they're being made. And they get weekly game tape breakdowns done by you, Bobby Skinner.
Yeah, for Patreon, they keep us alive. They are the best. They're keeping us alive. They're keeping the number one Giants show, the number one Giants show. You know how I know that, Grump? Anytime I'm at the store and they have iPhones out on display, I go to the podcast app and search. I put GIA, first thing that comes up, Giants Nation Show. And that always makes me happy. I used to do that, or not used. I do that at hotel rooms. Um, or Airbnbs or whatever, as I go to the YouTube and see how much we pop up, and it depends on what's
I thought you were gonna say you just walk up to it and just put a Giants Nation sticker on the top of it.
could do that too, could do that. Let's talk about the Giants offense against the Eagles defense. I probably have done that in the past. I need to get my sticker game back up. It used to be elite. Actually, during COVID, it was elite because we had nothing else to do, me and my brother, besides drive around and just put stickers on stuff. All right, Giants offense versus the Eagles defense. The Eagles defense is 20th in points per game. They're giving up 4.6 yards per carry. Usually, because the nature of a preview is talking about what the Giants can do against them and all that, we talk about like, oh, the passing game, and this is what they do coverage-wise and all blah, 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 or vice versa for the other team. I want to start with the Giants rushing offense. Like, that's got to be the key to this game. Continue to bring the physicality, right? They were a physical presence on Thursday Night Football a couple weeks ago. They had 172 rushing yards. Scattaboo had 98. Jackson Dart had 60. Um, like, they were going at them all game long. Whether it was the short yardage stuff where Scatterby was able to get 3 touchdowns, the Giants were able to get in heavy formations and get under center and run the ball at the end. My favorite series of this entire season is the end of that game where, you have a final drive of the game, 8 carries, 55 yards, and you drain 7 minutes off the clock. You could have drained more if you weren't just kneeling the ball and getting out of there. Like, at least test them, right? Like, the Eagles didn't respect the Giants' play action, so, get run the ball early and often and make them respect it. If they start playing it and they come out with a different game plan, getting aggressive against the run game, well, then you adapt within the game. But you at least got to start off testing the physicality of the Eagles because they didn't have it 2 weeks ago.
Dude, absolutely. I mean, I only have like a couple of points on offense, but one of them is keep that run game rolling. It feels like Cam Scatterbo is getting better every single week, and they're finding different ways to deploy him to kind of exploit his abilities. But also, we saw last week with like you start mixing in Tyrone Tracy into that 1-2 punch, and he had that like runaway touchdown towards the end of the game where when teams start getting behind, they have to stop the run because they can't. They start stacking the box, and all it takes is one missed tackle, and then there's no safety over top, or the nearest guy or the furthest back guy is just way too far away to make a tackle. So keep it rolling, and I would even say, we'll wrap this sort of into the pass game as well, but like keep hitting the edges. And I would say if you're going to run Jackson Dart in this game, make him part of the running game and less so him scrambling in this game. So we'll wrap that into the passing game and why I think that. But I think that added element of Jackson Dart, Tyrone Tracy, and Cam Scatterbo is a different way to attack the Eagles this week that they didn't do 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and the Eagles have Jalen Carter this go around, and that obviously changes the situation. But like that, what that changes for me is not the way I'm playing them. It's just like, all right, do we got to make sure we got two sets of hands on this guy, right? Like that's basically like either we're running the opposite way from him, or making sure we're staying on him for an extra half second before one offensive lineman moves to the linebacker off of their double teams. And again, I want it's the Giants run a lot of gun play action, and they should do that and continue to do that. And the Eagles give you light boxes, right? Like the Giants ran into light boxes 60% of the time a couple weeks ago, and that includes a final drive where they were just running the ball and the Eagles were stacking the box. So it's closer to, a 70% rate. Uh, so you're gonna get that out of shotgun. But again, don't let that stop you from getting under center, right? Because they did not respect the play action at all. So if you get under center and they're not respecting it, well, then you've got advantages because they're not playing like the only way to stop the under center run game is by playing it aggressively or just being flat out dominant up front. And if they start playing it aggressively, that's when you get that play action off the top of it. Spare me or run game doesn't affect the play action. Yes, it does. Okay. So if that safety starts biting down, then we get to throw the post over the top. Or their linebackers are biting a little heavy, then you get the crosser in the middle of the field. And Dart's probably struggled with that a little bit, but so he's got to be on his game when those opportunities are there, even though he did have a touchdown to Daniel Bellinger on that type of concept this past week. So I wanted to start with that, even though it's not as complex. It's just more, hey, run the ball, establish the run. But in reality, I think it's important for this game.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the really interesting thing about playing a division rival so back to back and having a like that run game, I do believe is too much. Like when you have games so close together, you might be overthinking what you want to do based on what were our failures in that game. You know what I mean? Like I don't think the Eagles really expected to lose that game. I know that they were, kind of on a rough and tumble, but they're like the 5-2 team, right? So I mean, like, yeah, they're having their struggles, but I don't think they really expected to lose that game. And not only did they lose, like they were just outclassed. It really didn't even feel like it was much of a game by the middle of the fourth quarter there. Um, so I think they might be overthinking. I think the run game is in their heads. And I think if you keep that run game rolling early on, they will start playing it too aggressively. And I don't even mean the scheme. I just mean the players' mentality. You have Zach Bond getting lifted off of his feet by Cam Scatterbo. They are going to be coming. They know if they're going to make a tackle, they have to be coming downhill. So run that play action behind it. Get the run game going early and then hit that play action behind it because you don't have a whole lot of receiving options out there. So you got to be creative.
And that's one reason I wanted to started talking about the running balls because you would think, oh, we played them 2 weeks ago. Just go watch the film from 2 weeks ago and use that to create your notes. And obviously it's a part of it. But I think I think they're going to try and throw different things passing wise, right? It was a short week first for the Eagles last time. I think, Vic Fangio disguised like he does versus everybody, but like he didn't throw anything crazy at Jackson Dart on the short week. Like it was basically two high coverages, and then they'd roll the safety down into man coverage. They'd have Zach Ball in the middle of the field, and then they ran some, more basic blitzes. And you saw last week too against Minnesota, right? Like they showed some of those like linebackers up at the line of scrimmage, backing defensive ends out, like type of blitzes and dropping coverages out. Jalen Hunt had a pick six doing it against Carson Wentz last week. And if there's anything the Giants have struggled with, of having negative plays with, it is those looks, right? Whether it's Jackson Dart or Cam Scatterbu, knowing the protection, knowing where to go hot, the interception that Jackson Dart had last week. Like you can leave yourself vulnerable as a defense running that stuff. But the Giants have had some of their more negative plays against those things, and they ran double slant a lot last week to success. So I think they might want to run that again especially against a team that plays a little softer like the Eagles. So I think they're going to throw different things at Jackson Dart than we did 2 weeks ago. But this is where I'm not as stressed about that, is because I think we have the benefit of their pass rush not being very good. They have 7 sacks in 11 games. Get extra hands on Jalen Carter. That can make a huge difference, right? He can be the difference between their defense being good or being bad in this game. But with the way the Giants' pass offensive line has been pass blocking, and Jackson Dart's desire and ability to keep a play alive when it's not exactly what he's expecting, that gives me a little more confidence. And I even look at that first rushing touchdown that Jackson Dart had in the Eagles game, where it's disguised as zone coverage. It ends up being man coverage. Theo Johnson is supposed to break in or break out, and that's what Jackson Dart is trying to throw. Theo breaks in, Jackson Dart pulls it, and then scrambles for the touchdown. So that gives me a little more hope for what the Giants can do. And if they're trying to stop Jackson Dart from running like the Broncos did, then that opens up the passing game a little too.
So here's what I actually expect, and this is just sort of my hypothesis. I think that I think Vic Fangio is going to try and show a lot of blitz looks and back out of a lot of them. Jackson Dart has been successful against the blitz this year, and I think that part of that is because he's not afraid to be aggressive with the ball. So if he gets one-on-one coverage, he'll throw it. And I think the other part of that is that he can when you bring extra guys and he makes people miss, which he does, he is good at running away and scrambling, right? So I think what actually is what I would do if I were Fangio is I would show disguised looks and drop into coverage and only rush 4. And sometimes I'll rush 4, it'll be an unorthodox guy, like you said, dropping a defensive end into coverage and bringing a slot corner or something like that as the 4th guy. But keep as many guys in coverage as possible. You know why? Because wide receiver is a huge weak spot in this. Make the wide receivers get open against, 7 guys or whatever. So that's what I would do. I would try and confuse as much as you can, because you do still have a rookie quarterback back there. He has missed some blitz looks, and same thing with Cam Scatterbu back there in pass protection. Remember, Tyrone Tracy may be the veteran, but he's a 1-year veteran. He's going to make mistakes too. So I would disguise as much as you can, but I would not blitz as much, because also Jackson Dart hasn't been that successful when not blitzed. He's one of the, this is actually, I'm going to plagiarize from Research Rick here. Versus 4 or fewer rushers, he's a league low 34.8% success rate.
And part of that is because of his playmaking. Like when teams blitz, well, that's just less people do. The Giants have that, like, to try to run a bunch of zone beating coverages with Jackson Dart, which, comes from Ole Miss and flooding to one side. Well, that means they have one less guy to drop. Like last week, they hit that post wheel to Daniel Bellinger, and they've ran that 20 million times, but they had never gotten the wheel because of the 3 teams they have faced. They finally faced the Broncos, who run a zone coverage, but they blitz 5, and guess what? The wheel finally was there. Partly was bad to who's their rookie corner that Denver drafted from Texas. Whatever his name, he screwed it up. It's like Barron or something.
Yeah,
Jahdae Barron. Yeah, Jahdae. He screwed it up. But like again, that's the type of stuff that works. Um,
One thing I think they're gonna do differently also is I think they're gonna use a more athletic person to spy Jackson Dart. I think that they know he's going to want to tuck and run when things aren't there, and I think they've learned that as athletic as Zach Buns and, Jahad Campbell are, I think they'd rather use somebody like Sidney Brown, who's just gonna level him and go as fast as he can. Um, I think that we saw, especially on the play that you highlighted, right? He just put him in the spin cycle. He put Zach Buns in the spin cycle and just ran around him. I don't think that that same thing necessarily happens if it's Sidney Brown or Reed Blankenship or something like that. I think that it'll change up who exactly is responsible for Dart if he escapes the pocket.
Here's one thing we can rely on is that they're going to play their corners off, right? That's what Vic Fangio is going to play his corners off. What did we see Jalen Hyatt get a few times in that game? What did we see Lord Jordan Humphrey hit your little hitches and your speed outs, right? Like force them to try and cover that, and then you get the double moves off of that. And Darius Slayton is expected to be back, and I want to talk about it. Please catch the damn ball because you're going to have opportunities, right? Like you are the number one outside receiver for this team, and this is a week where Quinyon Mitchell is back. It's likely going to be Keely Ringo because Adoree Jackson has been a DNP in practice and concussion protocol. Keely Ringo can be had all day long. He's terrible. Like he's a terrible player. Andrew Makuba, their rookie safety, is not a terrible player, but he's out of place pretty often. You're going to have opportunities. Catch the ball. Like we've been doing this, having this conversation about Darius Slayton drops and all that. When they needed him this year, he dropped the ball, fumbled, and then got injured. Right. So we've been a couple weeks since then. Catch the ball because you're going to have the opportunity to put up 60 to 100 yards in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if it matters whether it's Keely Ringo or Dory Jackson at this point.
Yeah,
But
both have been
you're
bad. Keely Ringo is like really bad though. Like
yeah,
he's just easy. Like, he's just you double move him and again double moves out of that stuff. Like both those guys can be had, but I think it's going to be Keely this week.
you do the way you wound up that fastball for Darius Slayton. I thought you were going to hit me with something profound. I mean, not that you're not wrong. It's just it.
Yeah, and we don't need to listen, like we don't need to have the underrated versus this or overrated or this and losing like we need to have the Darius Slayton conversation a million times. Um Drops are the easiest way to get in the bad graces of a fan base, but at the end of the day, catch the damn ball. Like you are the number one outside receiver for the rest of the season, Darius Slayton. Catch the ball. Like I'm not, and hey, he's gonna have more drops this season. Please just don't let it be this game, right? Don't come back from injury and have it happen. Put together some decent performances and then have your random drop game of 3 drops against, I don't know, Washington in our second matchup with Washington.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly think that the out and up is something that we're going to see. I thought we were going to see it at the end of the game 2 weeks ago. The way they were just like throwing that out route to Jalen Hyatt, just play after play after play. I thought the out and up was coming in a big way in that game. I I I guess it'll come in this game, but I also think they're going to try and hit some things over the middle in this game as well. Like you said, with the sucking the linebackers in and hitting the play action behind it, I think that that's gonna be, a big part of it. I think the slant is gonna be a big part of this game as well.
Yeah, and that's where you gotta be careful, right? Because that's where the Eagles got the Vikings last week. Um, Dude, speaking of which, Carson Wentz is very much still freaking terrible. Like
Oh
the
my god.
decisions he makes is like I could, obviously watch that game in preparation for this one. It's like, gosh, dude, like you will never ever learn. It was a damn revenge game for you, and you didn't learn. I mean, do you have anything else on our offense?
No, no, on offense, no, that's everything I got.
All right, let's talk about nuclear war. Now, let's talk about the Eagles' offense versus the Giants' defense. They're coming off of a game where Jalen Hurts had a perfect passer rating, and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith combined for over 300 yards. A.J. Brown has not practiced this week. I have not seen anything that says he is not expected to play, but he has not practiced this week. The Giants are likely without Paulson Adebo and Javon Holland. Um, we did get an outlier game from Shane Bowen, and not just performance-wise, like schematic-wise, and it bled into the first quarter of the Broncos game. but it was on a short week. I think the Eagles are going to be better prepared offensively for this game. Because even if Shane Bowen calls the game the same way as Philly, well, now they've at least seen it, where they didn't really see Bowen do any of that in the first 5 games of the season. Like, none of it. Debo being out is huge, simply because you have Deonte Banks or Art Green, which I don't think is out of the question of Art Green being the starting corner on Sunday, covering somebody. And if A.J. Brown is healthy, Jalen Hurts, I know he had that big overthrow. There's one thing the man can do is hit the ball on the sideline. Right? He can throw that ball accurately, give his wide receivers opportunities to make plays on the football, and maybe Art Green surprises us, but Deonte Banks will get worked getting those challenges.
He's gonna get worked one way or another. I really wouldn't be surprised if Art Green came out there. I think the Giants also re-signed Corey Black, not saying that he's gonna get the start or anything like that, but in a rotation of corners, I have no idea because you know, I know that the crux of this question in the press conference was about Dexter Lawrence in one specific play, but the Shane Bowen turned into an answering machine about yeah, it's on me. I got to get the right players out there. Um, and, you know, even if that's not the mantra going into this game, thinking about Deonte Banks, if Banks starts getting worked a little bit, I feel like him just repeating that over and over and over again today will eventually get him to just be subbing somebody else in there. And if there's one thing we know about Banks, it's that he's been consistently bad this year, just straight up consistently bad. When he gets worked on one play, it's the whole game. So, um, Paulson and Debo being out for this game, which we don't know for sure yet, hasn't been announced, but he hasn't practiced yet. That is probably the biggest difference between 2 weeks ago and right now.
Yeah, and I'm going to hit on this a little bit later too. That's huge. If Javon Holland's out, who's covering Dallas Goedert in man coverage?
I mean, I'm guessing it's Dane Belton.
Yeah,
Um,
it just doesn't make me feel great. I know Bellin had that big play last week, but hey, and he forced a fumble in the Eagles game a couple weeks ago. Um, so I think that's huge. The Giants left the seams wide open versus 4 verts multiple times in Philly, the Eagles game a couple weeks ago, and Jalen Hurts just didn't throw it, except for one time where he threw it like 20 seconds late, and Dallas Goedert caught it like a punt because that's how wide open they're leaving it. I would expect them to come and challenge that early. Um, so again, Flott, step up, play big. But if Flott has a bad game against Devontae Smith or A.J. Brown, I don't think that's even an indictment on him. I'm more so
no.
worried about the other guys. But pass game wise, got to throw different looks at Jalen Hurts, right? If you change the picture on him, that does affect him. Um, their left guard Toth is terrible. Cam Jurgens is banged up. Tyler Steen has not been very good. Stunt at them, right? When you get them on 3rd down, stunt on them, but you got to play zone coverage on the back end of that. Because if you play man coverage, Jalen Hurts is just going to throw it to either AJ or Devontae, and those guys are going to win more times than not. So that's where you got to get you're disguising big plays is throwing those stunts at them, and they can even know they're coming and they don't protect against them very well. And help, Brian Burns, his 2 sacks in that game were off of stunts. Um, so got to stunt when you get into a 3rd and long and work your zone coverages off that.
Stunting on these hoes. Yeah, I don't know if Landon Dickerson is actually out. He's been limited this week in practice, but he's got a myriad of injuries from ankle and back. And I think that's just sort of been the story of his career, right? It's just like a frequently banged up dude, dating back to college, I think. But nevertheless, I mean, whether it's the pass game or the run game, the name of this game for the Giants on defense has to be to continue to dominate the trenches. That's what they did 2 weeks ago when they played him. It's what they have to do again. And I know that Landon Dickerson didn't play in that game, and so you had Brett Toth in that game. But I think Cam Jurgens played at least part of that game 2 weeks ago. I don't know if he made it through the whole thing, but even so, Cam Jurgens, as good as he is not Jason Kelsey. So that should be a matchup
Yeah.
advantage on the inside.
Toth has been worked at center last week. Landon Dickerson, I confused that because I saw Toth playing last week. Landon Dickerson's at left guard. So I totally screwed that up. But Landon Dickerson, when not healthy, is also not the same player as he is when healthy.
Absolutely, but I think 2 weeks ago, Dickerson didn't play and Toth played left guard, so you weren't totally off, and Cam Jurgens and Landon Dickerson are hurt. Cam Jurgens did not practice. I don't think he's going to play. I think that's almost a
They've been
foregone
practicing
conclusion.
Toth at center this week, so I guess I would assume that too.
Yeah, but I mean that says a lot. If Landon Dickerson ends up getting hurt in this game or can't go in this game because he hasn't really been. But I mean, whatever.
Which happens
Name
all the time where he's, like, dealing with an injury, starts the game, and then leaves.
at all the time. I mean, because I think he is a
Giants
tough
fan, Landon
guy.
Dickerson, by the way.
What?
He was a Giants fan. He was at Albany training camps in an Eli Manning jersey in a picture with Eli. Kinda wish we would've drafted him that year. Instead, we got Azeez Ojulari.
Yeah, who's now an Eagle. So, and did not practice either. So instead, they signed Brandon Graham, who's been retired for like what 2 years.
Oh, yeah, we forgot to talk about Brandon Graham. You think he's gonna play this week?
I think it's certainly easier for a defensive end to go in there and just run a myriad of play like just a not a myriad of plays, but just like a package of plays and rotate guys. So I think he could play. Yeah, especially since he's always been like a high motor good player and he's had time off to heal, like, several years now. So, yeah, old man, whatever, but, this first week getting into action, he's probably gonna be at this is probably the best we're gonna see him is his first game, and it'll only go downhill from there, so.
Hey,
Uh
Andrew Thomas, when I interviewed him a few years ago, said Brandon Graham was like the, um, guys that he's like one of the, tougher opponents that he faces. Obviously, it's been 3 years since we did that interview, but
and nobody's been a tough opponent for Andrew Thomas yet this year, so.
yeah. Did you see our guy Nate Tice was like, he's been the best offensive line this year, so we gotta continue to get that stuff out there and get the interview going. Um, Anyways, back to the Eagles offense. So, again, I would stunt at them and force them to cover your speed. Brian Burns has not practiced. He basically said not basically, he said he's playing.
Mhm,
Oh, by the way, let me, sidebar. What do you think of Brian Burns
mhm.
saying, "I wasn't, actually criticizing the defensive call. I was saying, I can't believe we dropped 8 and we weren't able to cover." Do you believe him, yes or no?
I I believe when Dan Duggan says that he's developed a good BS radar over the years, and he believes him, but I still don't believe Brian Burns, no.
Yeah, I have a hard time when I don't just, like, have, like, 90 if I have, like, if I don't have more than, like, a 60% if let me start over here. If I don't just, like, adamantly, like, can see 100% through you, I have a hard time just being like, "He's lying." I just don't I just do not see that being the thing that he's yelling coming off. It's like, "I can't believe Andrew failed," and his explanation was like, it wasn't even going to him. Like, I just don't think
You don't even
in the
know that,
moment with
yeah.
like, "Oh, he actually wasn't throwing the clear. He was throwing the dagger, but he missed," and all that. I see that as, cleaning up. Shane Bowen said he talked to all the players about it. Like, what the thing that makes me call it BS a little bit is that Brian Burns is, like, describing the coverage and how it's perfectly that seems like post-Bucks game last year when, remember all the players were questioning the effort, or a few of them were questioning the effort, and after that Bucks game, and then they spent the Monday film session showing the players that it wasn't bad effort, actually, it was, bad execution. I felt kinda similar to that. Um, and
Yeah,
again, I can see them explaining why that play is designed to stop that certain play, and you can say that. I don't feel like but regardless, just at the end of the day, freaking get better and play better, or Shane Bowen is gonna get fired eventually. Like, if whether they believe in him or not. Um, Back on track. Can we talk about the Eagles rushing game?
I was gonna say my one point in general is to keep eyes on Saquon Barkley coming out of the backfield. He's still going to be the engine for this offense, I think.
Who?
Yeah.
So their running back one, their starting running back, I forget his name. He has not produced this year despite having the third most carries in the NFL. He's 23rd in rushing yards, 43rd of 44 running backs in yards per carry, 42nd in rushing success rate. It's been flat out terrible, and it does even on some of his bigger runs, it definitely looks a little bit like Saquon I've seen where it's like he's overthinking and he's just got 2 hands on the ball and running forward instead of, like, actually playmaking. Uh, But they also have gotten into like some jumbo sets last week, and they even got a touchdown running play action out of that. So you got to be careful with that. The DB's got to do their job, but I think the defensive ends, the edges, the defensive tackles, it's got to be a stop the run on the way to the quarterback. That was something they emphasized in that Eagles game. It's like play the run first, play the run first. We don't need you guys, screaming upfield or working outside in. Be disciplined, play the run first, and then you can rush the passer. So as much as their running game has been terrible, maybe even worse than the league, some have said, you still do have to respect it.
I'm sure that Saquon Barkley's production is worth the $6.6 million cap hit.
I'm sure he's not seething mad that he had to do a vlog, and I'm not calling it a documentary anymore. It's a vlog. It was an hour and a half long vlog, very similar to the south of the border vlog that we put out on the Patreon.
I mean, I know that people have been like, as we talk about the future of this team and who needs to get extended and who needs to be a priority re-sign. A lot of people have opinions about Kayvon Thibodeau and whatever, and that keeping the money out of this. Kayvon Thibodeau has been very good this year, especially against the run. Whatever your thoughts are on him as a pass rusher and how much money he deserves and what you want to do is sort of irrelevant to this conversation. He has to continue to be good, especially if Deonte Banks is going to be playing on the edge because he's not good at keeping contained. So, Kayvon Thibodeau needs to continue being as good as he's been against the run and keeping everything funneled to the inside. As bad as this run defense is, I'd rather have the runs running up the middle than running to the edges when Paulson Adebo. I mean, even if Paulson Adebo's playing, but especially with him being out.
Absolutely. Quick, Vikings at Chargers -3.5.
Oh, we don't want Danny for this?
He texted us his.
Oh, okay. Okay. I have Chargers.
Me as well. They're wearing their old dark blue jerseys.
The 90s jerseys. Yeah.
And doing prep for this podcast actually made me being like, you know what? Carson Wentz sucks.
He's terrible.
I love their 90s, early 2000s. I mean, I guess I'll just call them the LaDainian Tomlinson jerseys. Listeners are going Chargers. Danny's going Vikings. All right. Anything else before we bring on Danny?
No, that's everything I've got for pre-Danny stuff.
All right, let's take a break and welcome on Danny King. All right, we now welcome on Danny King for weather and trivia. Danny, what's the weather looking like for Philadelphia this weekend?
The most accurate weatherman in the last 2 weeks is back.
You did not tell people it was going to be freezing cold in the morning, though.
Oh, well, I'm not concerned about the morning. I'm concerned about game time.
Well, you got to give people the whole day. It's like they're.
Oh, I got to give people the whole day now. I was unaware it's the whole day.
We are getting to a point where people are actually just mad, like not even playfully mad, or just mad at Danny King if he gets the weather wrong.
Like,
Where I'm starting to, I like to have fun with it too, but I'm starting to get to the point being like, you know what, just go look at a weather app then.
I guess it's still a lot of new people around here. They don't fully understand that while I am, yes, a weatherman, I'm also not a weatherman.
You are a weatherman. You are. You're 100% legit meteorologist.
I just do it differently than most. But gonna be another, I don't want to say a nice day because there's no sun, but it's gonna be cloudy all day. So but no rain. That's the main thing. So it's gonna be 61 degrees, no rain, just cloudy all day in Philly. Wind minimal. You got 5 miles per hour, so it's like not even there. And the thing you should be more worried about this Sunday if you're going to the game is that you're going to be in that dumpster of a city called Philadelphia. That is terrible. I apologize. Very much sorry in advance, but the weather will be fine.
I will say this, the media trying to make this big deal about like Jackson Dart's first game in Philly. Like, I just don't think the players, it's just like, yeah, they hate us. Especially players coming from the SEC. It's like, this is nothing. I understand if you're a Giants fan going there, they are dumb and annoying. Like, remember last year, was it last year with Justin where he went and he was wearing Nebraska stuff and they were like making fun, making fun of Matt Rule.
Yeah.
Like, we wouldn't make fun of Matt. They're calling Justin a liar because, like, well, Eagles fans would never make fun of Matt Rule because he went to Temple and they were calling Dylan Raiola the F word. And they were just like, he's lying. I was like, no, he's not.
Well, I mean, is the story with Jackson Dart about like isn't it about like the fans giving the players shit?
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
the famous like Eli, like
Yeah, which is like, it's funny, but I don't think the players are actually affected by that. The only thing that affects players is just the sheer noise for play calling and stuff. I don't think some guy yelling at you suck. Actually, There is some players, but quarterbacks can't be affected by that.
I was gonna say, like, there are some players that, like, they get into it with fans. It's just,
If anything, it
something
makes the
that-
players more motivated. I remember,
Literally.
Wamp College where the people were talking. It's like, this is just making me motivated to
And-
come and shit talk back to you when I get off the field.
And think of all the players that last night. All the players, Jackson Dart will love that energy. Anyone in the world, Jackson Dart would love it.
I don't get like that's. Oh, you're ready for it? It's like, what are they gonna do? Or like, are they? You guys think they're actually gonna? They'll assault people in the stands, but they're not gonna assault the players.
Yeah, literally.
They are scumbags, but like they just
Horrible.
there's security, so they can't do those things because they would do
the
them.
barrel.
What do we got for trivia this week?
I started to realize this week that trivia.
Don't ever let Philadelphia fans say they're not the worst. They're trying to Okay, they are the absolute worst.
Scumbags.
And the number one primo story is fan gets kicked out for being unruly. Fan's friend gags himself and pukes on the daughter of the guy that got them kicked out. That's never happened in any city, not Philadelphia. Go ahead, Dan.
I was at the game where the dude punched a state trooper.
Yeah.
Oh yes, yes.
They are the worst. All right.
the worst. Brotherly love that. But yeah, Mike,
And their fans are stupid too, like genuinely stupid.
the dumbest of the player. Can we just have this whole second half be about that? No.
Like I know every last week it's like Broncos fans like Giants fans are stupid and like everyone's got everybody, but they're dumb.
Bob the Barrel Intelligence. Yeah. So this week I went back to 2008, November 9th, 2008. We're running out of trivia questions for these teams because we do not win this series very often. But this was a free game win streak the Giants were on. It was from September 30th, 2007 to November 9th, 2008. The Giants had won 3 straight games. So that's great. It was 36-31. You might be like, oh, he's probably going to ask who caught a touchdown that game. No, because that's simple. That's simple questions here. I'm looking for David McNabb had 3 touchdowns that game, but he had 1 interception, an Uno interception. Can you name me the player on November 9th, 2008 that intercepted Donovan McNabb?
I don't know it, but I am gonna just take a wild guess and say Kenny Phillips.
I'll say Corey Webster.
It's gonna be a linebacker.
Both good options. No, it was not. It was actually the man that signed with the Giants back in 2006. It was Sam Madison. Sam Madison was the one. That was actually his last year with the Giants. If I'm reading, yeah,
Probably last year of his career too.
Yeah, it was his last year of his career. He played 7 games that year, had 1 interception. But it was, before he came, Miami, what, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th year. He was balling. He had Defensive Player of the Year votes, AP All Pro, and some Pro Bowls. But
he was great with the Dolphins.
It was November 9th, 2008. How much further
My
after
brother's
that
birthday.
did Burris shoot himself? It couldn't have been much later.
Let me look. I can look that up real.
It was probably the very end of November because I think they only played like 4 games.
That was end of November, early December when shot himself.
Yes, it says in November. Can I get like a date here? Like, what are we doing here?
Just Google, when did Plaxico get shot?
I did. Oh, November 30th.
Yep. Oh wow! So that was on my sister's birthday. So wow, a lot of siblings' birthdays with this trivia. All right, let's get into fantasy, where we draft players from the Giants and the team that they are playing. Danny took the lead last week. I took it back this week with a 55-point outing. Danny had 39 points. He has 14 back of me. Grump had a good week last week, outscored Danny, but he is 57 points back, which again is very doable to catch up. Grump, you are the first pick this week. We got AJ Brown not practicing. It's like who is 1-1 there? I feel like you can make the case for like 4 different players.
Yeah. I'm going with Devonta Smith in this one. And the reason being is I don't think that Paulson Debo is going to play. I think that's just I don't know. It's ripe for, if not a touchdown, then like a big play. I guess our cornerback one's Cordell Fly almost gave up a huge play to Devonta Smith 2 weeks ago. So that's my 1-1 for this game.
I hate that you took him first because he was number 1 on my big board. And the A.J. Brown injury, I got to go Saquon with pick number 2. I hate it. I hate everything about it. It makes me want to vomit. But I am going to take the Eagles starting running back, even though their running game is really bad. So I'm going to go Saquon in this one. Danny, you've got back-to-back picks.
A part of me was considering leading Devontae. I mean, if I was maybe the injury to AJ Brown was the only thing that was making me lean that way. So that's why with him still there,
You're not going to get A.J. Brown if you don't take him in this with the
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, if I was in Grump's position, I might have went Smith just for the hamstring injury, but that's just me. What do I know? I'm just a weatherman.
I learned my lesson that injured guys, I'm not playing that game anymore. They're in the 3rd round for me.
That's fair. That's fair. I will go Devontae Smith here.
You will.
What, did I miss something here?
Grump took him 1-1.
With literally only been 2 picks, bro.
Oh, bro.
That's another thing that gets people mad, Danny.
I fought AJ Brown, guys. I just had that whole rant about AJ Brown for nothing. I was in my own world there, so I'll take AJ.
All right, AJ Brown 3.
No, I'm joking. Then I'll just keep it simple here. Give me Scattaboo.
Damn, Scattaboo.
Comments are gonna love that one. That I was in my own world.
So no one's gonna give Danny shit for picking the Eagles player first in the loop around.
They will. They'll find a way.
Yeah, that's you got to take the Giants player first. That's just the rules.
No, I know, and I just completely didn't.
All right, so this is going to sound like a 2023 draft for me. I am taking Wan'Dale Robinson second. So I have Saquon Barkley and Wan'Dale Robinson. He's been performing the last 2 weeks as their wide receiver 1. I think they're going to continue to try and do that. So Wan'Dale with my second pick. Grump, you've got back-to-back.
If there's one thing I like, it's a tight end. So I'm going for 2 tight ends, 1 for each hand. Theo Johnson and Dallas Goedert for me.
Funny story about Dallas Goedert.
Do tell.
Sucker punched him. Right in the face. All right, so he's back. This is really feeling like a 2023 draft for me.
Oh, God.
I'm going Saquon, Wan'Dale, and Darius Slayton. The gang is all back together. This is the 2022 New York Giants offense. I'm going Darius Slayton. I talked about it in the beginning. We need you to be reliable in this game. As simple as that, okay? Your drops will, again, I've always said, Darius Slayton will be remembered for the drops. Don't let that be this game. Let us have a 4-catch, 70-yard game and make us happy. Danny, you got your final 2 picks.
I'm going to go Theo Johnson and Dallas Goedert. I'm joking.
The Theo Johnson, once you said Dallas Goedert, I knew you were about to growl.
Man, if you look at this fantasy board and it just like it's just a cliff.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, he got 10 points last week. Maybe there'll be something here, but I'm nervous about the Giants' run game, especially with Carter back up in the middle. I'm gonna have to go Tyrone Tracy. I don't want to, but I'm gonna have to. I truly don't know any other Philadelphia Eagle that might get points. What Han Dotson is just not doing any. Oh man.
Tracy wasn't even in my top 12.
He had 10 points last week, so I'm banking on maybe they'll do something there again. Daniel Bellinger, he put up 17 last week. Do I think he could do it again? Well, he's questionable. So
it was a career high for him last week.
Yes, that's why I'm like, do I ride the Daniel Bellinger trade? Because that worked out well. I don't trust any other receiver on this roster. So I guess that's going to be my pick. I think I'm going to have to go Daniel Bellinger. This week could put me behind the 8 ball significantly.
Yeah, but if A.J. Brown's healthy, you have him and Cam Scatterville, and that's the best 1-2 that any of us have.
Yeah.
I don't like the Tracy picks, but anytime I say that about a backup, they have their best game. I'm going to go the Giants' other starting receiver. Lil Jordan Humphrey with my 4th pick. So I mean, he had 4 for 55 in this game. If I could get another 9.5 points out of him, I'd be happy. 0-0 last week. But Grump, you have the final pick.
I guess I'm gonna go Jahan Dotson at this point, and not that I expect much, but with the injuries in the secondary, it's certainly possible. He's kind of the best option available, right?
Yeah, he's best available on my board.
Yeah, he was. I heavily weighed that one, but
Now, Mechie's gonna go off because
yeah, Jeremiah week. Here we go.
I'm just telling you, if AJ Brown gets ruled out, I think there should be a race to trade for Mechie. I might trade old Lil Jordan for Mechie. All right, to recap, myself in first place as Saquon Barkley, Wan'Dale Robinson, Darius, Slayton, the gang's all back together, and Lil Jordan Humphrey. Danny, who was 14 points behind me, has AJ Brown, Cam Scattaboo, Tyrone Tracy, and Daniel Bellinger. And Grump, 58 points back, Devontae Smith, Theo Johnson, Dallas Goedert, funny story, and then Jahan Dotson. All right, it's time for Giant Factor. Grump, who is your Week 8 Giant Factor?
You're coming back and playing a team that you just played 2 weeks ago. It was kind of a shock to them just how badly they played. I don't even think that the score tells the whole story of how outclassed it felt. There's going to be adjustments, and it's not going to be so easy for Jackson Dart to just run around and make plays. Players have to step up, right? And one player that didn't really play in that game that needs to step up is Darius Slayton. You need to go out there and be wide receiver 1. You need to be a reliable target for Jackson Dart. We cannot rely on Lil Jordan Humphrey and Jalen Hyatt and Wan'Dale Robinson as our starting 3 every week and expect 30-plus point results. And that's where you come in. You just signed a 3-year contract to stay here. Come in here and you have to step up and be wide receiver 1. Darius Slayton, be a Giant Factor. Be a Giant
Factor. My week 8 Giant Factor. Javon Holland might be out this game. Dude, this guy's been extremely disappointing this year. Like, he's regressed, right? There's any rookies get overrated, and then year 2 we say they regress, and it's like, nope, that always been the same guy. Deontay Banks, I think, is a prime example of that. Drew Phillips, even though Drew Phillips is giving up more yards, he was the same player last year. Newbin's worse, right? And we are asking for this year to get the ball production. That hasn't happened, so now he's at a career 0 interceptions and 1 pass breakup. But he's made mental mistakes. Bad angles have gotten worse. He's missed tackles where it's not based off angles. And an underrated part of that drop 8 coverage is the conversation goes to, why did they there's 3 conversations that have happened on that. Why did Shane Bowen drop 8? Why did the team only not have Dexter Lawrence on there? Why didn't Andrew Phillips just do his job? When in reality is Tyler Nubin screwed that up probably second most to anybody, where he's got a route running right behind him and he's not seeing it happen. And that play should have been completed to Cortland Sutton if Bo Nix threw an accurate ball. So Nubin, you don't have Holland next to you. You need to make some plays and cover Dallas Goedert and show you're worthy of even having a starting spot on this team going forward. So Tyler Nubin, be a Giant Factor. Danny, who is your Week 8 Giant Factor? I'm excited for this one.
I'm going to read off the numbers here. 96.9, 87.9, 90.6, 81.8. Did anyone know what numbers I'm reading out right there?
all incorrect temperatures that you've said so far this year.
That's a good.
That's a good guess, Bob. You have a guess?
That's Danny's fantasy score if he could just draft the players that were already taken off the board over here.
Exactly. No, wrong. Those are the field goal percentages of my Giant Factor this week, who's coming off IR. I believe they're making it sound like he is. That man's name is Graham freaking Gano. All right? That man in his prime was hitting some goddamn beautiful field goals, all right? Has he sucked recently? Yes. Has he been an injury liability? Yes, mainly in pregame. But you know what? I know when that man's leg is healthy enough, he can make a freaking field goal, unlike June McEntamy, who is back on that damn practice squad. Graham, you need to go out there and prove the haters wrong. First step this Sunday, make it through pregame warm-ups healthy. Do not get injured running out the tunnel. That would be a positive. Then when you take the field, make at least a 40-plus yard field goal. We could not do that with Jude recently. Graham, it is all on you. The haters are calling you out. They're saying you're washed. Are you, maybe? Probably. But come back out there, make the Giants special teams unit somewhat reliable so we don't got to rely on a guy that can make 2 simple extra points that also lost the starting job at Rutgers University. I'm sick of it. I don't want to care about kickers anymore. Graham, it's all on you. If it's not Graham Younghoe, they were making me sound crazy on Twitter on Sunday when I said, why are you not up there? So if you're the guy up there, just make your damn field goal and give the fattest middle finger to people and then take us in on the sideline if it is you. Have both kickers up, by the way. Let's not be pretty this Sunday.
Speaking of fingers, what's that ring I just noticed that you got, Dan? Is that a promise ring?
No, God, no. If I had a girlfriend and she gave me a promise ring, I would chuck that thing away. It's an aura ring. It's like tracking like sleep stuff like that. It's a health ring.
Oh, I was trying to set myself up for a joke, but you said if I had a girlfriend, I was gonna say like, what's his name?
My friend got a promise ring and that didn't end well. Don't take promise rings. They're a lot.
What happened? Some like, yeah. I was gonna make up some more jokes. I'm not gonna make them. So, as much as the Gano thing is crazy, he finished last year strong, and then this year started hot before getting injured. So hopefully he is healthy, because that would be the best, as he's just the best kicker available. But if he gets injured in another pregame warmup, which again would be a 3rd time, and it'd be the 4th time where he kind of went into a game injured, right? Like, you remember the Jets, like, because he's been injured twice in warmups, we forget that there was a 3rd time against the Jets 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Where he was talking about how he's injured and he's going to have to get surgery. And we're all like, what? That's kind of crazy. And then he's freaking terrible and and then injures himself worse in the game and misses kicks, and they lost the game because of it. If he gets injured in another warm-up, what do we do as a fan base?
I think we storm the building and take the medical staff out at that point. Because at that point, the head coach has to be getting bad information.
Somebody has to get. If that happens, I will start the podcast and say somebody needs to be fired tomorrow. Somebody has to be fired for this happening. I don't care who it is. You could, if Graham Gano's wife has a job somewhere, you could fire her. But somebody has to be fired for this.
You take Ronnie Barnes' ass out of the Ring of Honor. It's a joke he's even in there.
Seriously, we should vandalize his name on the Ring of Honor if that happens.
It's a joke. It's the dumbest thing one of the dumbest things we've ever done.
Just tell
Honestly, bring back the guy that was there since like 1940. Remember that old Monday Night Football meme, that old ass trainer on the
side? That was from the Super Bowl.
That was from the Super Bowl.
Jim Johnson.
We weren't getting hurt then. That now Ronnie Barnes, all like, we're like, oh, put him on the Ring of Honor. What a joke.
All right, spread picks. Not a good.
Bad week.
I said it last week. I was like, we got way too many clean sweeps. We're gonna get screwed. So I went 1-7. Grump went 2-6. Danny went 3-5. The listeners went 4-4. So Danny's still in first at 30-26. I'm in second at 25-31. And then Grump and the listeners are actually in last at 25-31. So all depends how you word it. We already did Thursday Night Football. We got Bills at Panthers +7. The listeners are represented by Jimbo. He actually gave me explanations for all of his picks too. He's going to go Panthers +7. I'm going Bills -7. I know the Panthers haven't lost since that podcast quit, and they have an above 500 record. I think it's totally fake. I think what the Panthers are is completely fake. Grump, you got the inside scoop. You're in Charlotte, but I'm going Bills -7. Grump, who do you got?
Yeah, I actually got a tip from a mafia guy around here that said that the Panthers thing is totally fake. So I'm going Bills on this one. I think also the Bills have been screwing around too much. They finally got spanked for it real bad, and I think they're getting their shit together now.
Yeah, I think it's fake. I'm gonna read this guy's explanation. So he said Dalton potentially starting is an issue, but Bills look awful this year, and Panthers +7 is too tempting. Danny, who do you got?
Sorry. The Panthers thing is the funniest gimmick in sports right now. That podcast quit. They're defeated.
I know this sounds mean, but like when I saw that podcast, I'm like, oh, that must be like the most listened to Panthers podcast. And again, this is not demeaning because like this is what this started at, but like it only had like 980 followers. I thought it was like their top podcast was quitting, and it was just like, it's like some again. It's nothing. It's not not trying to shit on that, but like that made national like waves. When Rally was,
So dumb.
who do you got,
But
Johnny?
I'm circling the wagons with the Bills. I think they bounce back this week. And probably Sean McDermott probably gave him a great speech in the locker room.
Grump, you and Cranky should lie and put together a statement and see if we can get that viral. The Just Giants podcast quits.
Oh, that we give up on the team.
Let's like that. That's what we need to spark the team.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Maybe we'll
Go on like a 4-game winning streak.
yeah, let's quit Giants Nation and then go on a winning streak. And honestly, shame on those guys. Like, how are you gonna quit?
Stick it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, just stop at the end of the year.
Yeah, you stop.
But that's the thing is, at the end of the year, though, is when you get brought back in. It's like, we got to hold off. All right, Jets at Bengals -6.5. There's a terrible slate this week, so that's partly why this is on. The other part is because Woody Johnson, just saying, yeah, well, how could he win with this crappy ass quarterback we have, Justin Fields? And then the media asking Aaron Glenn about it. He's like, when did he say he doesn't like Justin Fields? He's like, he said he can't complete a pass. He's like, so that means he doesn't like him.
Yes, that's quite literally what that means.
It really does put Aaron Glenn in a bad position, though. Like, I don't even know what he's
terrible position.
Horrible.
But he should just say, like, what Woody does, what Woody does. He's not the one making the decisions. He's like, but when did he say that he doesn't like him? And the reviewer was like, he said he couldn't complete a pass, and you can't win the games with him. So I'm going Bengals -6.5. Joe Flacco is back. I'm going Bengals. Listeners are going Bengals too. Grump.
I'm going Bengals. I don't think Sauce is playing. I mean, if the Jets defense can't hang around, then there is no team.
Dude, and maybe I'm just looking at like certain Twitter accounts for the Jets world, but like they're turning on Sauce Gardner, and it's like Sauce Gardner's playing really good. It's not his fault. The rest of the team sucks. Danny, who do you got?
Low key, I forgot about Joe Flacco is their quarterback. So I was going to take the Jets because they played Slopfest recently, but I will be going the Bengals because Joe Flacco revenge game. Well, Joe Flacco revenge.
Another one. Bears at Ravens -6.5. Lamar should be back for this one. Danny, what do you got in this one?
Oh, I did forget about Lamar coming back, but I'm still going to rock with the Bears. I just can't figure out what's wrong with the Ravens, but they did take all their games out the locker room, so that might kick off the winning streak here.
Yeah, and then John Harbaugh's like, that was falsely reported. They took them out. I didn't take them out, which I guess should actually. I don't blame John Harbaugh. I'm actually hoping John Harbaugh gets fired, and I'm going to want him as the Giants coach. By the way.
Yeah, I've seen some people. I won't get head coach talk. I saw someone stupid the other day.
But I'm going Bears too. This Ravens defense is really bad, and I think Ben Johnson will scheme it up pretty good. So I'm going Bears. Listeners are going Bears. Grump, is it a clean sweep?
It's a clean sweep. I'm going Bears.
Well, we're going to lose this one.
Yep.
Could you imagine if the Ravens get a top 5 pick? Titans at Colts -14. This is another terrible slate, so I might as well put Daniel Jones on it. Listeners are going Colts. Grump, who you got?
I really thought that the interim head coach thing was going to swing that way last week.
It started out. I started watching that game. I was like, here we go. And then they just fell apart.
Yeah, they just fell apart. And I don't know, man. 14 points is crazy, but I'm still going Colts.
I'm going Titans. Give me the 14 points. Danny, who you got?
Yeah, 14 points is just crazy. That's why I got to go to Titans too. That is too many points. I mean, maybe Daniel Jones just kicks the shit out of them, but
He didn't by 20 a couple weeks ago.
But 14 is nutty.
So here's the thing about the 14 points. I think they've lost by 14 every single week, except against that's not true. They
won a game.
They beat the Cardinals and they lost to the Raiders by 10. So I think that's it. Every other game, 41-20, 26-0, 33-19.
33-19.
The Broncos only beat them by 8. All right, I'm lying, but
it's
Your
I mean, with the
stats
way
terrible.
the way the Colts are playing, though, it's not. Good lord.
49ers at Texans -1.5. The Texans have the number 1 defense in the NFL. It's real deal. They have CJ Stroud, and they're just so stupid. They're a stupid franchise that lucked into a quarterback. And I know people say, "Oh, CJ Stroud sucked," but that offensive line is so bad. I can't believe they traded Laramie Tunsil away. I'm going 49ers +1.5. Yeah. Listeners are going Texans. Danny, who do you got?
I would look and see if Purdy's coming back, but I think either way, still, I think the 49ers are just.
It doesn't make a difference for me. I'm picking 49ers.
Yeah, even with how injured they are. But CJ Stroud's career fell off the cliff ever since he little broed Caleb Williams after one game.
So you have the 49ers?
Yeah.
Grump, who do you got?
I'm going Niners. It doesn't matter to me which quarterback's playing. Not at 1.5 points anyway.
That's our game next week, 49ers.
Yep.
Cowboys at Broncos -3.5. I'm kind of surprised that this spread is so little. I know the Cowboys had a great game last week and their offense is legit, but that defense is still really bad in my opinion. And I think their pass rush can tee off on the Cowboys offensive line, unlike the Giants offensive line. So I'm going Broncos -3.5. Who do you got, Crump?
I'm going Cowboys. I don't necessarily think they're going to win, but 3.5 point, like Broncos don't win by much, like ever. So
Yeah, we know. Listeners got Cowboys. Danny, who do you got?
I mean, maybe Nick Benito shows up this week. That
would be nice. You know, I heard he was the defensive player of the year front there.
But
he had to go and go on a show and pretend to do the high road thing because he knew that he sucked. That's all I'll say to Nick Benito. It's like, your fans can say whatever you want. You went to bed knowing. Who do you got?
that's I'm going Cowboys though. I just a good offense. Doesn't mean they're gonna win.
All right. We got an Aaron Rodgers revenge game. And I don't think the Packers have won in Pittsburgh since like the 70s or something. So we got Packers at Steelers +3. Listeners going Steelers. Danny, who do you got?
I'm gonna go Packers. They're gonna scheme up something that can slow down Aaron Rodgers and give him a chance to win, and even also beat the Steelers outright.
All right. Grump, who do you got?
this is probably the hardest one for me. I'm gonna go Packers though. I'm gonna go Pack Go.
You just can't underestimate the power of revenge for a guy like Aaron Rodgers. So I'm going Steelers +3. I think the Rodgers revenge angle is just too much to overcome for the Packers. And they haven't won in Pittsburgh in so many years and blah blah.
Be a shame if he like ruptures an Achilles in the.
Well, that could be a shame. I don't know why you would say that. It's not like I've been saying that to my brother who's a Commanders fan about Jay Nathaniels, but that is a real shame that it's a shame that you would say that.
Well, just because it's like a hype up game. Like this is the revenge game. Playing the Packers, right?
Well, he already had his revenge win against the Jets too. Put up 30+ in that one.
That's not the revenge game.
Yeah,
I'd say it's more revenge. He personally hates people in that building. The Packers, it's not that way.
That's true. He had a whole media session with Packers media because he loves them.
All right. Giants at Eagles. Danny King, what is your score prediction?
City of Philadelphia still sucks. The people there are scumbags. I hate every professional team there. I hate everything about that city that exists. If it was to disappear off the face of the earth tomorrow, I would not bat an eye. With that said, I got too hyped on the Giants. I allowed it to happen to myself. I'm not doing it again, even though I picked them to lose last week. I deep down thought they were going to win. But either way, that doesn't matter. Giants lose this week. I need to see it to believe it. I'll give the Eagles 30 points. I'll give the Giants 17 points.
Grump, what's your score prediction for Giants at Eagles?
I don't think that this game is going to go as swimmingly as it did 2 weeks ago, but I do think the Giants are going to come away with a win in this one. I think they're going to squeak out one 27-26. I think there's going to be a lot of field goals kicked in this game between both teams, because I think just having it been only 2 weeks since they last saw each other, I think there's going to be a lot of chess being played here. So I'm not exactly sure how it's going to go down, but I think the Giants come away with a 1-point win.
Did you give the score prediction?
27-26.
Okay. Sorry, I must have missed that. I started the podcast with the Giants have not won in Philadelphia since 2013. I mean, where were you guys in 2013? You know what I mean? Like, that's a crazy to think about, like, how different all of our lives probably were. We haven't swept them since 2007. You know, Danny wasn't even born yet in 2007. What would the math be on
Correct.
that? That would make you 18 years. Okay. No, he was born. We won a Super Bowl that year. And just maybe, we sweep them again. Giants 77, Eagles 0. Do it, baby. Beat the damn Eagles. I want talk shows talking about what is wrong with the Eagles, how broken they are. Let's break that team. Let's break that stupid-ass city with their stupid-ass people. Let's go Giants, and let's go Big Blue.